How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Flesh and Blood video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today, Flesh and Blood 2.0 has arrived, and I could not be more excited. If you just want my quick summaries, here and now, if you've already read the article, I love everything about it. There's so much to dive into, there's so much I have to say. I absolutely adore so many things in this article. It's like they've listened to, I don't want to say my feedback directly, but feedback from a lot of community members. There's things that I think are the most important thing to Flesh and Blood and the growth of the game, and they've nailed it. They've addressed those things, and they're like doing it, and I'm so excited. It's things that the professor and I talked about in our recent discussion interview kind of thing. Anyway, let's just get to it. There's so much to talk about. This article is huge. I initially started doing this video like a normal, like Flesh and Blood video, just me talking with my actual good camera, but I was like, no, I need to actually have this on screen, and I want you guys to see it too, because I think it's really important. And there's so much stuff to get through here. So if you haven't read the article yet, I highly recommend checking it out if you really want to get into it. It's really long. Like, it's really long. There's a lot of stuff to get through. So we're going to skim it here. We're not going to read the whole thing verbatim. We're just going to skim it, and I'm just going to tell you my impressions on the things that are going on. We're just going to kind of summarize it here. And I do want to say one thing right off the bat, though. This is kind of like the introduction from James White. And this part here, he's like, before I dive into the details of today's announcement, I would like to thank the fans, retailers, distributors, content creators, artists, OP partners, judges, service providers, and the LSS team for their belief, hard work, and support that has seen Flesh and Blood become a loved and respected game across the world, built upon the foundation of a community that I am proud to be a part of. I would love to echo those sentiments, because just, I don't want to get like too emotional, but like, me too, you know, me too. It's Flesh and Blood's a really big part of my life these days, and I would also like to echo these sentiments. So before getting too touchy-feely, let's move on to the actual, like, what is FAB 2.0? So basically, once again, I'm going to paraphrase this kind of stuff. FAB 2.0 is about putting their resources to where they believe the best possible place is, and focusing on things that they really want to focus about. And they say right here, it's about investing more into areas that better support social and casual play, in addition to our ongoing major commitment to competitive play. And they talk about that in part 2. They also talk about Flesh and Blood entering the non-English markets. Huge shout out to everyone, all the Rogues Gallery members who are not from English-speaking parts of the world, or even if you know, I know a lot of you still speak English, but huge shout out to all of the folks in France and Germany and Italy and South America and just everywhere, no matter where you are. Huge shout out to you folks, and I'm so glad. This is something I'm so happy about, because I know less than half of the people who watch Red Zone Rogue are from an English-speaking country, which means more than half, obviously, are from non-English speaking countries. And so this is a huge deal, not just for me, but for the community out there, for you guys. And I think it's just a huge thing. We'll talk about this as we go on, but I think it's incredibly important. This is probably one of the most important things in this. This and this. These are the two most important things here. I strongly believe that in the long run, these are going to be what carries this game, 100%. Game is amazing. Game is excellent. There's a lot of cool like lore and world building and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that too. But yeah, these are what is going to be the lifeblood of Flesh and Blood. So they also talk about like ELO ratings and some signature weapons, and getting rid of the restricted list, which had no point to begin with. It's just kind of like honestly, I don't like restricted lists, first of all. So they got rid of the restricted list. I don't like restricted lists. I think they're dumb, basically. And that's just because if you're going to restrict something, why don't you just ban it? Like, yeah, that's a whole other thing. But I don't like restricted lists. I'm really glad they got rid of this. It's pointless, and yeah. And then what FAB 2.0 is not, it's not about changing the game or the system or anything like that. Which is great. It's just kind of like a change in philosophy and focus, and these are the things that I personally want to see. And the goal here on Red Zone Rogue, I'm taking too long to get to the next part. The goal here on Red Zone Rogue is I just want people to play the games that I love, and Flesh and Blood is the game that I love the most. And so I just want people to play this game, and we want to grow the community. I just want to make it into like I don't know, I just love this game and I want people to play it. And the things that they're doing here are really towards that end, and I love it so much. So it says, our primary mission is to bring people together in the flesh and blood through the common language of playing great games. And I love how we have playing bold and italicized, playing italicized. Like they're really, really, getting this, point across, playing the game, play the game. Like they want people to play the game, and that is exactly what they should, where they should be. People, it's a game, right? People should play the game. They should be able to play the game, and because of that, they're getting rid of first edition. Now, this is kind of like, in my opinion, the clickbaity way of saying it. They're basically also getting rid of unlimited. They're smashing them together. It's going to be one thing. There's not going to be unlimited. There's not going to be first edition. It's just going to be the set, which is awesome. I've seen a lot of people suggest what they're doing, and they're doing what a lot of people suggested they're doing. So they're getting rid of unlimited first edition. There's just going to be one thing. And if you'd like to see like all of the reasons behind all this, I highly recommend just reading all this stuff and checking it out. But here I want to talk about what they're actually doing, right? So starting with the next set called Uprising. So Uprising is a very interesting name for a set. Could mean we're going to Volcor. See Volcor Uprising. If you read that lore article, the last one they did, which was really, really good, by the way, I highly recommend reading that. It talked about the heroes of Solana. You have Dorinthia and Bolton going to seek other heroes to aid in their cause against the fight against the shadow and the darkness and all that kind of stuff, which is really interesting because we also have another party of heroes kind of doing the same thing. So you have this juxtaposition between Dorinthia and Bolton, like going to go get people to help their homeland. And then you also have like Lexi and Yorick and Briar going out and doing something similar. So it's going to be super interesting to see when these two parties of heroes converge and what happens there. It's going to be super interesting. I'm really, really looking forward to the lore here. But the next set's going to be called Uprising, and I have big Volcor vibes, but I've also seen a lot of stuff to suggest that we're going to the metrics and the pits, and that's awesome. And if we do, Legendary Studios, if you're watching, if you have an assassin class, please let me do something cool with the assassin class. Is Red Zone Rogue assassin? Come on. Okay, that's it. Okay, so there's gonna be one edition. This is so long-winded. It's so much to talk about. I'm so excited for this. So only one edition. There's no first edition. There's no unlimited. There's only one edition. That's it. When they release Uprising, it's just Uprising. There are going to be cold foil cards in Uprising. There's going to be rainbow foil and cold foil, legendaries and fabled cards. There's going to be both in the same booster box. But the rainbow foiled are going to be more common than the cold foils. So the cold foils are going to be like much more rare. I'm not sure about cold foil commons and cold, that kind of stuff. We'll have to see. But I think it's going to be really, really interesting, and it's going to make opening a cold foil legendary super exciting. It's also going to mean that it's going to be really hard for me to get my full cold foil set like I have every set so far. And so let's kind of scroll down here a little bit, and we're going to talk about some of these pull rates, and we're going to talk about this new Marvels rare, which is not really a rarity. It's basically just what they're calling all of the special alternate art, full art treatments, right? So like your full art Twinning Blade, your full art Earthlore Bounty, those are just called Marvels, basically. It's not like Marvels Rare or anything, they're just Marvels, right? Which is kind of cool. They're just kind of like giving a good name to it. And then we'll have its own new symbol, as you can see here, with this like purple triangle kind of thing. So, this is, for me, it's like whatever, right? It's just kind of like a thing to show. I thought it was cool without them, but I'm neutral on this, I guess you could say. So here are the pull rates for Uprising. We have Fabled Cold Foil, Fabled Rainbow Foil, Legendary Cold Foil, 1 in 100 or 1 in 220 packs. That's like 10 boxes. I don't know. That's like a lot of booster boxes. So getting a full legendary cold foil set is going to be very hard, but the rainbow foils are 1 in 90 pack or 1 in 80 packs, which is actually a little bit more frequent. I think the other ones are like 1 in 90 for the previous sets, so that's a little bit more frequent. So you have more of a chance to get like 2 legendaries per case. I honestly think this could be down to like 60 or something. I'm not that kind of guy who's gonna go over this kind of stuff in detail, but Overall, you should be getting more legendaries, and they're going to be taking up different slots. So you could feasibly open up a case, right, where you open up 2 rainbow foil legendaries and then like a cold foil legendary. I mean, that could be a thing. Majestics, rares, all this kind of stuff. Please note that the pull rates are not guaranteed. This is kind of the thing they say every single time. Then they also talk about the cold foil reprint policy. They're not going to reprint cold foils and, you know, that kind of stuff. I don't think this has changed at all. So, yeah, we're not really going to cover this as well. So past, present, and future, and here we go. White bordered Flesh and Blood cards. This is insane. So this part they talk about reprint sets, basically. And this is something that I've talked about extensively on the channel. This is something that I think Flesh and Blood needs, like 100% needs. You need reprint sets to put, like, you know, Command and Conquer here, or Enlightened Strike, or the Tunic. You just need them for a game that doesn't rotate, just period. So they're finally doing it. I suggested, you know, I surmised they were going to be called, like, the World of Wraith Volume 1. So they're actually going to be called, what are they called? History packs. So that's kind of cool. Each history pack is going to cover a block, which is like a big set, small set. So it's going to be, this one's going to be Welcome to Wraith, Arcane Rising, and Crucible of War. And so I know a lot of people's first inclination here is like, we don't need this right now, right? We already have a ton of Unlimited out there. And yes, I agree. If you speak English, if you speak German or Italian or Spanish or French, you do need this badly, like really badly. So this set is going to be absolutely freaking amazing for all of these communities, Italian, German, French, and Spanish. This is huge. This is actually really, really huge. And this is something that I don't think people are realizing. How many people out there who don't speak English who want to play Flesh and Blood? So this is a big deal. This is one of the most important things in this entire article, in my opinion. So while we might not need it, and by we I mean people who live in the US and Canada, you know, speak English, we might not need these. The other people in these other communities definitely need these, and they will not be white bordered. They will be black bordered in these versions, which is awesome. And I want black bordered German Flesh and Blood cards, so I will be buying this. Also, I will be buying the English versions because these white bordered cards are hilarious, and it's gonna be real fun to meme with some of these white bordered cards. So yeah, that's kind of my take on this kind of stuff. I don't expect these to sell super well in the US and in English-speaking countries right now. I think this is a great product, by the way, for like years down the road, right? Like 4 or 5 years down the road, they could like reprint this product and people can just get their Fiendel Spring Tunic and their Command and Conquers and all of that kind of stuff. This is a great product to have for the future. Like long-term, you know, in terms of like the long-term health of Flesh and Blood, this is an amazing product, a product that needs to exist. Does it need to exist now? In English? No. In other languages, yes, 100%, because these don't exist. These cards don't exist in other languages. No cards exist in other languages right now. And so I really think they're just they just want to have these cards in the other languages, and then they're just doing the English version as well, just because, you know, to stay congruous, right? To do that. And I would also suspect that the History Pack 2 will also be black border for these languages, because it will be Monarch, Tales, and Everfest, right? And so this is why they're doing it now. It makes a ton of sense, because we're starting the new block with Uprising. So yes, makes a ton of sense. I'm a huge fan of this. I know I've seen a lot of people gripe about it in the community. People will be like, oh, we don't need this. Who's this product for? You know, this product is for these people right here. This is what the product is for. This one, I don't know. I don't know about this one. This one with the white bordered stuff, you know, it could be good for new players. It should drive the prices down. One thing I really want to talk about is the pull rates in here. So these cards, especially Command and Conquer and Enlightened Strike, they originated in sets that the pull rates for these cards were not good. Not good at all. You got like maybe like 2 Majestics per box. And these are going to have like the current pull rates, at least I assume, where you get like 6 to 9 freaking Majestics per box. And even though the set's very large, it's like 400. Where is it? Where does it say here? Let's find out where it says. It's going to be, let's see. It says it somewhere. It's like 400. It's like 400 something cards. Digital assets, product sheet. Let's take a look at the product sheet. Maybe it's on the product. Yo, this looks awesome, by the way. I didn't actually click on this. This looks so cool. Who did the art on this? I can't see it. It doesn't say. It looks awesome. So let's see. 427 cards. Yeah, so it's a big set, right? It's a massive set. 10 cards per pack, which is small. But there's going to be 36 packs in a box, which is more. Interesting. Weird, but interesting. 4 displays per case. And there's going to be 9 legendaries, 62 majestics, and then there's the other breakdown here. And so, yes, if this has the same pull rates as like Everfest or Tales of Aria or Monarch or whatever, you're going to be getting your Command & Conquers a little bit more often. There's 427 cards, so and 62 majestics, so it might be a little bit harder than it seems, but I think this will definitely drive down prices of these type of cards, which is great. It's very, very good for new players and people who don't want to spend $800 on a Flesh and Blood deck. So I like this a lot, and I'm going to be buying this. And also, these look freaking awesome. I just gotta say, like, seriously, this looks amazing. Why did I not look at this sooner? I'm just in awe of this. It looks like you're in I don't want to say Egyptian tomb, but like an ancient ziggurat or something. I don't know. It looks freaking cool. Okay. Anyway, the future of History Pack. The intention at this point in time is to release the new History Pack biennially in established markets. New markets, however, will have access to the localized version of History Packs more frequently, which makes sense. So, for example, History Pack 2 will follow soon after History Pack 1 in French, German, Italian, and Spanish, whereas the English version of History Pack 2 is planned to release in 2024. Yeah, so every 2 years, this is what this word that I couldn't pronounce means. It means every 2 years. This part's awesome. Like, this part's awesome. I would love to see more languages eventually, like some of the Asian languages, Japanese, Korean, that kind of stuff, but this is a very, 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 very important first step. And getting these folks History Pack 2 ASAP is very, very important. So, love it. Love everything about this. Slam dunk. Part 2, playing the game is more about okay, hold on. Playing the game is about more than competitive play. Oh man, okay. An important part of FAB 2.0 is putting more emphasis on making Flesh and Blood a game that people want to play. I love how they italicize this. This is our game. We want people to play the game. And that is so, so, so important. It's a game. Without the people playing the game, it's literally art cards. So what does this mean? This is so cool. So I'm going to break this down real quick. It basically means they want to do more casual stuff, which is amazing. That is my big focus of 2022, is focusing on what I believe Flesh and Blood needs the most to grow the game to be bigger than what it already is, and that is the casual audience. Formats like Commoner, formats like Ultimate Pit Fight, and we're going to talk about those. Oh, I'm so excited. And then other things like world building and lore and like art books and just more stuff like that is going to be what really appeals to a lot of casual players. And let's just dive into it. Because they're doing it all. They're doing everything that I just said. All right, so more storytelling, world building, character development, and integration of lore into the play experience. And this means that we're gonna have more returning characters, so we might see like Viserai come back. We're already seeing like Greiner and Dorinthia and the new this new product that I kind of started off right here on. We're gonna see more of that, which is awesome. I want to see more characters too, more like new characters, but returning to old characters and breathing new life into them is awesome, and it's gonna be really, really cool in my opinion. And just kind of like fleshing them out as characters, giving a good backstory and a personality, right? Like, so you can actually say, like, this is Viserai's personality. This is Azalea's personality. Like, who they are. If you talked to them, how would they talk? That kind of stuff. Just really cool things that I think are, it's going to mean a lot to a lot of folks out there. This is how people are going to, like, really, really connect with a lot of these characters, which is awesome. For a lot of, like, competitive players, this is not a big deal, but competitive play, Flesh and Blood already does that really well. But we're going to talk about that more too. But yeah, so they're going to be including more lore books. They're going to be publishing more books, which is super interesting. I would love to see more lore books. I'm one of the only content creators that doesn't have a lore book. So yeah, more lore book, please. Would love to get a copy. And if they're available for purchase, please let me buy one. I know that's, I'm not the only one who feels that way. There's also going to be like Tales of Aria, the Scriptures of Light, and Tomes of Shadows will materialize in the hands of fans around the world in interesting ways, which is, I'm really interested to see how this manifests. And yeah, and we're also going to be getting, more lore books and little, little things like that in products like these classic battles products. So products tailor-made for first play and social experiences, kind of like these, but also player versus environment. So I was gonna grab them. I have the Onyxia's raid deck, or Onyxia's Lair raid deck, and the Ice Crown Citadel raid deck over there from the old Warcraft TCG. I said that weird. World of Warcraft TCG. And it says it'll be their flagship social play product. You'll see players band together in campaign settings that can be as long or as short as your party wants. This is super interesting. I'm really curious to see how this kind of like works out. It's not about winning or losing, but having an epic adventure with friends and fellow gamers. I'm going to be playing this a lot, probably with fellow friends and content creators. You can bet your butts we're going to be doing that. We're putting a lot into PvE, and our expectation, along with that of many eagerly awaiting fans, is very high. Yes, I'm super excited for this. Huge fan of PvE stuff since the old World of Warcraft trading card game days. I do know that James said that this will not be out until like next year at the very least. So don't expect this to be out like this year. But I'm super excited for this. 100%. I can already think of like the fun things we can do on the channel for this. It's gonna be great. I love the PvE. I can maybe even convince my partner to play more Flesh and Blood with me. She's not really into competitive stuff, but this is important too. Reformatting casual play formats. Okay, this is the other thing that I think is incredibly important in this article. And oh geez, we're already like 20 minutes in. All right, so this is Ultimate Pit Fight and Commoner, two of the formats that I have done the most content on this year, I think. I do a lot of Ultimate Pit Fight and Commoner videos over on Channel Fireball because I figure Channel Fireball has a wider range of an audience there. And here, I know a lot of folks already watch me for Flesh and Blood, and I just want to show people that you can play this game and have a ton of fun in a social casual setting or with a like super budget. And the fact that they are highlighting these in an official capacity is so important. So they are kind of like defining what Ultimate Pit Fight is and what Commoner is, which is great. This is something that I've been wanting a long time because like the rules for Commoner have been pretty nebulous. People are like, oh, do you play with rares? Do you play with only commons? Having an official, like this is what Commoner is on the website is a very big deal. And hopefully, it means that stores will be able to run Commoner and Ultimate Pit Fight events with actual prize support. And so that's something that I think is also really, really big. Having Commoner and Ultimate Pit Fight events. Where does it say? Just Ultimate Pit Fight? Have Ultimate Pit Fight events. I was looking for the thing I could highlight. Just having that you can just, do on Gem is really, really big. So maybe at a calling they can have like a Commoner side event or a Ultimate Pit Fight side event, and I think that stuff is very, very important. So a couple quick things to note. So let's kind of go over this really, really quick. So for Ultimate Pit Fight, they have decided to do Young Heroes only, which is basically what we've been doing. 11 card inventory, which is also basically what we've been doing. But now you have only a 40 card deck and 2 copies of each unique card. So it's basically like Blitz. We have been playing with like classic constructed rules in our Ultimate Pit Fight series, which is, 60 cards in a deck with 3 copies. So now they're basically doing Blitz. I think this is fine. And we're probably very likely going to alter our gameplay series to follow the official rules here. And then it also says every card is legal, which is the same. You can play Taylor, you can play Go Bananas, you can play York if you want. I love this, like, no York this week, thank you. Yeah, some weeks it's going to be great. Some weeks people are going to be like, no, I want to play with my Icelander deck or whatever. And then for Commoner, basically it's what I've been doing for Commoner. So 40 card deck, common cards only. You have 11 inventory slots. They're giving you the option to include up to 2 rares, which basically means you can play your Centauri Sabers or your, Claws or whatever. And then you can also play a rare hero. It has to be young. All the heroes are young, but a rare hero, which is great because that expands the card pool and the things that you can play. It just makes it more varied, which I think is very important, and just makes the format a little bit more open and a lot more fun. If you'd like to see more of my commoner stuff, I will be posting more here on Red Zone Rogue, but I have a ton on Channel Fireball already. Also, 30 minutes per round, best of 1. This is actually great to have here. So if LGS wants to hold a commoner event, you have everything just kind of laid out here. This is fantastic. Also, an independent banned and suspended list for the commoner format, I think is also really, really good. Currently, there's nothing banned, so you can play your Seeds of Agony or whatever. And currently, I think it's fine. So yeah, I'm really, really happy about this. And here you have a whole commoner section. Yeah, huge fan. So the commoner and ultimate pit fight bits, I think, are one of the most important parts in this article. I think these two, plus the part about the localization in those specific languages, French, German, Spanish, and Italian, I think this is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly what I was hoping. This is the kind of stuff that the professor and I were talked about in our interview. This is perfect. What else have we got? Rules enforcement for casual events. I'll let you read this kind of stuff because this is just kind of like nuts and bolts kind of things. ELO and recognizing excellence. I am not the person to talk about this because I am not a competitive player. I may do competitive commentary and coverage because I love the game and I love talking about the game, but I just don't have time to be in the trenches in like the competitive scene. So I do not have a good opinion on this kind of stuff. It would just be a random, like mostly uninformed opinion. So I'm sure more competitive players, pro players, have much more of an opinion on this kind of thing. The banned and restricted list, like I said, they're getting rid of the restricted list, which is great. We have the same ban announcements and all that kind of stuff coming up. Okay, this part. This part is one of the parts that I was like, what? What? Are you serious? So when this announcement dropped, when FAB 2.0 article dropped, I was in a Discord call with Joey from Decks and Drafts and Az from Go Again Gaming. We were just playing some games, as you do. And we all kind of like talked about this and looked at it all together when the announcement dropped. So that was a lot of fun. But one of the things that kind of popped up is that when a hero reaches Living Legend, they will now be taking their weapon with them. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean they're taking their weapon with them? And they were like, yeah, here it is. And all right, so let's talk about this. This is one of the things that I was like, I don't want to say down on it first, but I was like, that's weird. And then I thought about it more, and I was like, does this even matter all that much? Like, does it even matter all that much? And then also was like, why? So basically, it's kind of like for flavor and lore reasons, right? They're taking their weapon with them. It's not really for balance or anything like that, which is cool. It's fine. And so, like when Bravo, hits Living Legend, he'll take Anothos. One thing to note, that Bravo, star of the show, has no signature weapon, so he's not taking any weapons with him if he hits Living Legend in the next couple months. So yeah, this is really interesting. Does it matter? Like, is Katsu or Reinar or Azalea, any of these heroes, even close to Living Legend? No. Some of these are closer than others, like Bravo and, maybe a little bit of Dorinthia and maybe a little dash here or there. But like Data Doll and Cavdane and Benji and Ira and maybe a little Ira too. But it's interesting. And the more I thought about it, the less the more I thought about it, the more I liked it, right? I'm pretty neutral on it now. I just think it's kind of funny. I don't really know what to think about it other than that. It's kind of a cool little lore thing. They're walking off into the sunset with their weapon, but some of them are just like, I don't have a weapon, like Shiana or Cavdane or Data Doll. Why doesn't Data Doll have that rifle? I don't know. But in any case, I think it's very interesting. And very curious to hear your opinions on this in the comments. Like I said, I'm pretty neutral on it. I was first like, what? And then I was like, yeah, sure. I don't think it matters all that much. And also there's going to be eventually a Living Legend format, which is its own thing. Like, obviously, this is not like gonna happen anytime soon, but that's kind of cool. They also want to do like seasonal programs, which I think is fantastic. More OP, more regular OP, and that kind of stuff is just great. Overall, like I said at the start, I could not be more happy with this announcement. This is it's everything I wanted, basically. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. This has been a 40-minute journey diving into FAB 2.0. I am incredibly excited for this. I hope to see you all out there at the very first Flesh and Blood Pro Tour in New Jersey. I will be there 100%. I know a lot of other folks are going to be there too. It's going to be an amazing time. And please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Like I said, I could not be happier about this announcement. Yeah, I basically love it all. Even the white bordered cards. Dude, I didn't talk about it that much, but I love these white bordered cards. They're so like trolly, and I don't know, man. It's gonna be fun, like tilting people when you play your command and your white bordered Command and Conquer, pitching like 2 first edition foil Command and Conquers or something. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.